Good morning. It is a turtleneck show, and that's because the article is out. I talked about it last night on the live, and now it's up there on the Athletic. How the West was won. The 49ers have been the NFL's most efficient team over their 7-game tear. I wanted to put everything into one spot here to show you just how dominant the 49ers have been since losing to Kansas City in week 7. Since week 8, over their 7-game win streak, the 49ers number one offensive efficiency in the league, DVOA, defense adjusted value over average from Football Outsiders. Number one defensive efficiency, and special teams not all that far behind. Number 7 special teams DVOA. The 49ers are on a historic run since their loss to Kansas City. They've won all 7 of these games by an average score of 27-11, which is astounding at the NFL level. And they are increasing their betting value toward a potential Super Bowl every single week. This next opportunity against Washington gives the 49ers a chance to push it to 8 wins in a row. And obviously, they are now playing for seeding in the NFC. The number 2 seed is the goal for this football team, as opposed to just trying to win a division, because a 7-game win streak will net you a division championship a lot of times. They started 3-4, boom, 7-game win streak later, 49ers moved to 10-4, and now they are playing for that positioning. So to check out the article, I'm going to copy and paste this link into the chat section. There you guys go. It's already in the description. And we'll take a look at a couple of the features here, a couple of the tables that I made, but then you'll have to go check it out yourself because it's hard to convey what was meant for the written word onto a YouTube video. But as you guys know, use the social media to promote this stuff, give you an idea, maybe start a discussion around it, do all of those good things. First of all, the Christian McCaffrey supercharge for the 49ers. This is what it looks like. This is part of the article, by the way. You're going to have the tables up there to help you see what Christian McCaffrey has done for this 49ers team. I think illustrate it like this. It's awesome. Red is below average. Darker blue is further above average. So this is the 49ers offense before and after full-time Christian McCaffrey. On the right side, you have got an elite offense punctuated by this down here, number 1 overall offensive DVOA. One thing that really jumps out to me is how much better the 49ers have gotten with turnovers. Before McCaffrey, number 26 in giveaway EPA per game. They're losing about a touchdown of expected points value per game. Now they're giving up only about a point of EPA per game on turnovers. That's best in the league. So from number 26 to number 1. So what can we take from this? Well, McCaffrey has just been a domino effect kind of addition. The way that he spaces the field, I mean, he's a gravitational pull. It's like a tractor beam. Defenders go toward him, and then there's spacing everywhere else, right? And McCaffrey knows where to position himself. He's awesome out of the backfield. He can obviously also run the ball, and he hasn't lost a fumble yet. So that's why the 49ers giveaway EPA, when you do look at this, is so much better. This is in this chart right here, from number 26 to number 1. But, I mean, when you look at some of the numbers, like yards per play is the same, 5.8, 5.8 before and after. It's where the 49ers are getting the yards, the efficiency of those yards, picking up, moving the chains, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, that kind of stuff, and avoiding killer penalties, plus avoiding killer turnovers. That's where the 49ers have been able to turbocharge from a middling, mediocre offense to the best one, or one of the best in the league. And Christian McCaffrey knows how to play football. Now, you got to give the quarterbacks credit too. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, both have made sure that mistakes are at a minimum. They've made the correct decisions. The 49ers offensive line has taken a step forward. I talked about the offensive line in a separate video the other day. But the one variable that has truly changed is Christian McCaffrey. And he's one of the best players in the football. He's a superstar. And the results that you're going to get by plugging in a perfectly fitting piece into an already talented operation is this right here. All right. Where are the 49ers defensive struggles outliers? Take a look at this. This is the 49ers defense. 49ers defense, pass defense, EPA per play allowed per week. So you want to be lower on this graph. The 49ers were excellent throughout the first 5 weeks of the season. Then all of a sudden, you've got this crazy spike up, and then you have the team recover and keep it low all the way back down to the Miami game, which was awesome for the rest of the season. This is what the number one defense in the league looks like. This is their profile. But we also see that there's one area, there are a couple games, but one area where there was a decided spike upward, which you don't want on this graph. It was the game against Atlanta, followed by the game against Kansas City, and then even a game against the Rams is higher than most of these other ones. If we remember how this all went down, Emmanuel Mosley tore his ACL in week 5 against Carolina. By the end of this game against Atlanta, the 49ers were missing 7 defensive starters. And then they returned some of those guys against Kansas City, but most of them didn't practice all week. And Kansas City embarrassed the 49ers. This was the worst defensive performance statistically for the 49ers since 2006, one of the worst defensive performances in franchise history. It wasn't good, and it's way up here. But the 49ers, even despite a shaky first half against the Rams, really started to figure things out in the second half. This game right here against the Rams, the second half of this game was the first of 4 straight second half shutouts for the 49ers, and they definitely turned it around. So we have data right now suggesting that this Kansas City game and this Atlanta game were both outliers, especially especially Atlanta. Kansas City, though, you're not going to be able to fully prove that the Chiefs doing that kind of number on you was an outlier until you play the Chiefs again. And that's not going to happen until the Super Bowl this season, if it does happen, right? That's just a potential matchup. The Chiefs have to make it through the AFC. 49ers have to make it through the NFC. But boy, would the 49ers love to prove that they can take this KC logo and put it a lot closer to that black horizontal line that's 50th percentile in the middle, maybe even drag it under. They did so for 3.5 quarters of the Super Bowl, but we do know that Patrick Mahomes is a superhuman efficiency monster. So it's going to be tough, but that is the operative question. Was this an outlier or not? Well, you can tell that this 49ers defense on its way to number 1 status has essentially held everyone else in check when it's been relatively healthy. And they believe that if they play the Chiefs again, their guys will have a little bit more practice time than they did coming off that very, very injured Falcons game. The goal for the 49ers is to recreate 1994. Why do I talk about 1994? Well, in 1994, the 49ers lost 40-8 to the Philadelphia Eagles in week 5. They then ripped off 10 straight wins, 13 of 14 games they won. The only game they lost out of those 14 was when they were resting their starters in week 17 of the regular season. And they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Dallas Cowboys on the way to that Super Bowl. The 49ers and the Cowboys were the 2 superpowers of that 1994 season. That was the most recent time the 49ers won it all. And it happened to be preceded by a yelling match from Steve Young at George Seifert, and Kyle Shanahan was in the stands because his dad, Mike, was the offensive coordinator at Candlestick when the 49ers got their asses kicked by the Eagles. And Kyle Shanahan heard everybody yelling at his dad, right? So this is a terrible offensive coordinator. This guy can't call the plays, right? All this, all that. That all happened in October of 1994. The 49ers used that as motivation. That was a let's buy into this program type of moment, according to what Brent Jones, their former tight end, told me when I talked to him about that game. They used it as motivation to congeal as a team and go on this crazy run. So the question is, can this 2022 team do the same thing with the loss to Kansas City? 44-23 also in October. And this is what I'll leave you with. Since both of those losses, so this is the 1994 team since the Eagles loss and the 2022 team since the Chiefs loss. Both number 1 offense DVOA. 49ers in 94 were number 4 defense DVOA, but look at the 49ers this year. Number 1 offense DVOA. 49ers in 94, number 2 special teams. This season's 49ers, number 7 special teams. And we can close this so you can see the very bottom. Overall, the 1994 49ers, number 1. The 2022 49ers over the streak, number 1. But this is value over average. Look where the 49ers are in 2022. plus 60%. They're 60% above the average NFL team in efficiency ever since that Kansas City loss. In comparison, 1994 was 44.6%. That was also number one. But the difference between 94 and 2022 was that in 94, the Cowboys were hot on the 49ers' tail. The Cowboys were plus 40% in this split. The 49ers at plus 60% this year, that is a staggering number. The next highest team are the Eagles at plus 33%, and then the Bills at plus 27%. So the 49ers are at plus 60% efficiency since week 7. They have been far and away the most efficient team in the NFL. Now, the question is, will they be able to keep it up? And I think a lot of their ability to keep it up will depend on what they do here in the next 3 games, because they could get the number 2 seed if Minnesota slips up, which I think is going to happen at some point. So if the 49ers can get the 2 seed, they can stay at home. They can clear the path for this awesome efficiency that you see right here. They can clear the path for that efficiency to play at home in the playoffs. And I think that that would make the 49ers odds-on favorites in the NFC. So that is the absolute key, is to make it as easy as possible, because the 49ers made it hard on themselves last season. They got off to a terrible start, and then they had to squeak into the playoffs, and they had to play all those road games, and they ended up playing a total of 12 road games, which was an NFL record last year, and they were injured, they were beaten up, they were running on fumes entering the NFC Championship game, coming off an ice storm in Green Bay, which also wasn't all too good for freshness' sake, right? As they marched through those playoffs. So the Rams didn't really beat the 49ers last year. Fatigue, exhaustion, injuries, all that beat the 49ers. If the Rams had beaten the 49ers, mano a mano, then they would have beaten them one of the other 8 times that they've played. But the 49ers have won those other 8 times they've played in recent seasons. So last year's journey underscores the importance of setting the table if you're the 49ers for a run by making it as manageable as possible. And that's the goal of these final 3 games, because if they achieve that goal, then they have this. They have efficiency that's even better than the 1994 team. And the 94 team is the one that most recently won the Super Bowl. All right, so the article is up. Make sure you check it out. This is worth a read this morning. It shows you why you should think that the 49ers are possibly Super Bowl favorites. It goes into the data, and it sets up what might be an epic rematch with Patrick Mahomes and company. There's a long way to go until then, but this sets the table for you. You should be really excited right now if you're a football fan, because there's going to be awesome stuff happening here over the course of the next month plus. So go ahead and check it out. It's in the description. It is in the chat section, and I'll put it in the comment section right when I end this broadcast. The article's up on the screen. Link is there as well. Everybody have a great Wednesday. 49ers, second practice of the week today. Javon Kinlaw should be back out on the field. Ton of content's going to be coming up through there. So hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. We will talk to you all very soon. Everybody have a great day. Take care.